All right, all, we are ready to begin. So I'm going to try to make this as, I guess, less cerebral as possible. And we'll focus on some core functions to get started. So this probably isn't going to be an advanced SEO and search engine marketing course. This is going to, basically be an introduction into, to what you need to know to become successful with InkSoft immediately. So to begin, just because as an agenda, we're going to be talking about the core functions in InkSoft that relate to SEO. We're going to talk about Google paid advertising, pay-per-click advertising, which is called Google AdWords. And we're also going to talk about another option, which is advertising on Facebook. And I can tell you that Facebook is now threatening Google's revenue from advertising because it's such a huge social network and their advertising product has really taken off. So I actually think the advertising functions in Facebook are much easier than harnessing the Google AdWord functions. Now I'm going to email everybody some content following this training exercise. You're going to have some homework to do, and I've actually read this myself and I can vouch that it's really good content. So I'm going to send you a basic guide to understanding Google AdWords as written from the Google perspective, and they've done a great job of really giving you concrete examples and making what could seem like it's complex very, very easy. So, okay, to begin, when you log into InkSoft, you'll notice that you'll have this option here in the topmost navigation, which is going to be SEO for this page. Now, this is pretty important to establish your search engine optimization page titles and descriptions for your pages in InkSoft. Now, what represents a page? The home page is a page. Stores, designs, clip art, products. Those are your 5 core pages. Now, you cannot establish SEO for the design studio. That's a page that's flash. There's not going to be a lot of content or value there anyhow. So for home, stores, designs, clip art, and products, those are the first 5 pages you'll establish SEO on. Now, I want to make the point, for those of you that aren't aware, if you click on clip art, for example, this is a page. If I click on a graphic category like American Pride, that's still a page. So you can actually establish your SEO for pages, core pages, topmost pages, and then you can do it by category, and you can even do it by individual graphic. So you can get really crazy and actually do SEO for this specific page. Now that obviously, I haven't done the math, but I suspect, since there's about 4,000 pieces of clip art and there's about 1,700 design templates, and you can now create custom pages, plus the 5 core pages, there's about 5,705 pages that you could add SEO value on. Are you going to do that? Probably not. But would it be a good idea to maybe choose, choose a page a day to add some of this value? Well, I think so. Now you'll notice this, that on this page here we have a bunch of content that says tagged with. And this is some extra content. So for this particular design, this has been tagged with drums, flute. So you can see all of this content. This makes this particular design keyword searchable, but at the same time, the search engines will see this. And content is critical to search engine optimization. So let's start with that. Let's kind of back up a little bit and let's talk about what some of these things mean. How about that? And I'm going to open up a new window here, and we're going to do a quick Google search. And I'm going to type estate. We'll do estate, pipe, tobacco. Well, I guess that wouldn't be it. So I'm a nerd. I collect estate pipes, tobacco pipes. I've just always been fascinated with them. So if I'm a consumer and I'm using the search engines, typically Google, who has over 80% share. So most people use Google. It's the most critical search engine to be concerned with. So we'll be using it for all of our examples. So 86% of consumers use search engines to find local businesses. Over 80% of consumers use search engines to do research on products and businesses. So that's really the whole value and the whole premise of search engine optimization, to let your potential clients find you, but to make your website and your content visible. So as somebody does a natural search, which I just did, estate pipe, tobacco, estate pipes, there's a lot of different variations of this particular theme. Now this would be called a long tail keyword. So a keyword is basically a word that describes a component of your website or your content. Using 2, typically 3 keywords in conjunction is a long tail. Using 1 keyword is a short tail. Now here's rule number 1 of Google, and this will become clear when you read this guide that I'll send you to do your homework on, is one thing that Google makes abundantly clear is relevancy and relevant content. That's the name of the game. So Google likes to reward relevant, content-rich websites, and they typically ignore or penalize those websites that are, light as it relates to content. So rule number 1 with SEO is find out what people are searching for. That's the name of the game, because after all, the search engines, it's their job to connect a search query, which is a search like we just conducted, with results, because Google and their whole business model is based on answers and results and accuracy of those answers and results. In fact, how many of you have seen the Microsoft Bing commercials where they like to stab and poke fun at Google for not always returning accurate results? So you can see that Microsoft clearly understands, it's all about results and accuracy. So I like to do, to start my, SEO research especially on a new project that maybe I'm not familiar with. And for many of you, this is going to be a new topic to begin with. I like to start with, as a consumer, how would I find my services or my products? And this is an excellent way to begin that research by actually using Google to do a natural result. Now, rather than having to key in every single result, what I like to do is use the tools on the left-hand side. So you can see here all results, and there's things like the Wonder Wheel, the timeline, and more search results. So typically, I like to use these search results or these additional tools to find related searches, and a great way to do that is to use the Wonder Wheel and the related searches function. So the Wonder Wheel is going to give you sort of a graphical, sort of spoke, example of, hey, people that search for this term oftentimes, go on to search for these other terms. So maybe I haven't considered, estate pipe cigarette, although that's probably not within my scope. But estate pipe tobacco was one that we initially searched for. Estate pipe smoking, so you can see how, the Wonder Wheel gives relation to my search. And let's make this a little more specific. Let's do custom t-shirts, Arizona. So again, this is a long tail key phrase, more specific phrase, and look what we see now. We see custom t-shirts, Arizona, custom t-shirt, California, Phoenix, Arizona cap. So it gives us a sense of other search queries that may be relevant. Custom t-shirts, Arizona, screen printing. That could provide a lot of value if I'm trying to leverage local search results. Now, also, the related search function is very similar, but it's going to give you related links, and I can use these to kind of get an assessment of what may be appropriate for my strategy. Now, one of my favorite tools to use is the Google keyword tools. So if you just do a Google search, believe it or not, for keywords, there's a few different tools that you can use. Google Keyword Tool. And I'm going to share with you later how this will actually be an active tool in your Google AdWords account. So I'm actually signed in right now to my Google AdWords account, and the keyword function is available here. So there's 2 ways to do keyword searches. You can either type in a website, and you could basically, steal or borrow from all of the SEO content and value that's in that specific website. So if I want to see what one of my competitors is up to and see what their strategy is like, or maybe in this case we'll use customink.com and do a search. Well, Google is going to basically pull all of the keywords that Custom Ink uses, all of the content that Custom Ink is using, and that's going to derive keywords that may be helpful or useful in my strategy. So let's let that produce. So you can see here all of the keywords that are available from Custom Ink. Create your own t-shirt online. Now here we can get a sense of the competition for that particular keyword. You can see it has a high competition value. So I can tell you, being as though this is a high competitive value, it's going to be pretty expensive to do advertising in that space. So what I'd recommend doing is taking some of these ideas and then adding extra content into it. Create your own t-shirts online, Tennessee. Create your own t-shirts online, Arizona. So if we can take a highly competitive, well dialed in search phrase and we can add our state, our city, our locality to that, that's going to help enhance our local presence. And that's really, I think, the focus that we need to focus on is really leveraging local search results, because I think that's where a bulk of the action is going to take place. Now we also have the ability to just type in phrases. Remember we talked about a keyword is singular, is one word, whereas a long tail key phrase is a natural phrase. So I could type in design my own shirt, Arizona, and then I'll do a search based on that key phrase. And Google, again, is going to return the results for that particular search. And as you can see here, there's no competition for this. So it's a low competitive offering, which means as I want to pay for this placement, I'm going to be entered into an auction. And if I'm not competing against other people for that space, then I'm likely to get it at a very low rate. So I can command that space at a low rate. So, and there's probably so few searches that Google's not even providing that kind of data. So typically you're going to see global monthly searches, and then you're also going to see local searches using these tools here. So that is the Google keyword function, and that's how Google works in basic terms. And again, this content I'm going to send you is going to give you a lot of additional insights as it relates to how Google processes queries and how their search page is structured. And I think that's going to give you a lot of really good insights. All right, so going back to InkSoft here and establishing our page titles. Now, if we look back at like a search result, you can see that these search results are typically fairly short. And so Google will actually cut this off. So you can see here for arizonacap.com, you can see that they put in extra content, but it gets cut off. So you can see that there's an ellipse here and it gets cut off. So you are fixed in terms of how much you can put for content in the page title area. Now again, the #1 rule is to be very, very relevant and specific. So Google is going to look at your page title and your page description, and they want to see a reflection of that title and description on your actual page. Otherwise, it's irrelevant. Why the heck would you have Arizona's best embroidery company, and as a description, we offer the most affordable embroidery in Arizona, custom embroidery in Arizona? What if there was none of that content on my actual page? Well, then it's not relevant. Google doesn't find that relevant, so it's not going to give me any kind of indexing or ranking, or I'm never going to get to first page organically. The name of the game is reflect what you put here with your actual website. Now let's pause for a moment. How do I reflect some of this information on my InkSoft powered website or web page? That's when you're going to take advantage of some of the custom pages that you can set up, along with a lot of the custom HTML content that you can place. So we're going to take a break now. We're going to pause to talk about loading up your InkSoft website with content. And there's a few areas that you can do that. So let's go back to the home page here, and I'm going to share some of those areas with you. So to begin, the first area where you can put in custom HTML, which is basically text or images, is these banner ads here. So images don't provide much value for the search engines. An image is a series of pixels. There's really no data there. However, we can do things like describe pictures. We can put what's called an anchor tag or an alt tag, and we can describe pictures. What does this picture represent? And that provides a little bit more value to the search engines. What I would recommend for each one of you is to create a custom HTML banner and load it with content. And one of the most important things that you can do is use H1 or header 1 text. And H1 text basically means important or bold. So Google is going to crawl your page, index your page, and it's going to look at what's important on this particular page. So typically all website structure, they'll use H1 text, which is big, bold text, and that signals important. And if you signal something that's important, like Arizona's best embroidery, Arizona's best and most affordable custom embroidery, and we make that important and signal to Google that this is valuable, that's a significant thing. So here's homework #1, is to select config, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a custom HTML banner. And this, we can pretty this up and decorate it, but the real key here is we're trying to provide some relevant and we're trying to provide content to the search engines. So what I can do is I can navigate to the store that I want to establish an HTML banner for. Here we're going to go to Store Controls. What I can do at this stage is we can go to Customer Interactions and Users, and we can go to Advertisements. Now this is where we're going to set up an HTML banner. And I know it may sound complex or difficult, but what we're going to do once this page loads is we're going to have the opportunity to create an HTML banner. So let's let this page load. I happen to be uploading another video tutorial now, so we're a little sluggish here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on Add More Advertisements, and you'll see here there's a button that says Create HTML Banner. So we can have a graphic or an image-based banner, or we can have a text-based banner, and that's what we're going to focus on now. So if I go to create an HTML banner, we are going to have what's called a WYSIWYG editor. And this is basically an HTML editor, a visual editor. So what I can do now, just like you're accustomed to, is you can choose the sort order. I would recommend placing this number 1. Of course, you can choose a start date, end date. If you don't, then it's going to be infinite. It'll be definite, rather. So what I can do now, HTML content. So again, this is going to display. What I can do here is basically start typing text. And we're going to do header 1 text. So we're going to find a really good search phrase, and we're going to use that as header 1 text. So in our case, for the InkSoft strategy, we might use something like online t-shirt design software. That is, unfortunately, the only thing that people are really searching for as it relates to the InkSoft sort of software. So, you folks are fortunate that you have a lot of different channels to use and a lot of variations. Our challenge is we don't. This is such niche technology that, the space is very, very small. So, at any rate, what we're going to do now is we're going to type in our text. Now, notice this. There's a paragraph drop-down menu. And in this menu, there's a bunch of options to format my text. H1 text, again, is big, bold, and important. So I'm going to establish my H1 text. That's all there is to it. What I can also do is I can link this text with something else. So, this is important. Link structure is very, very important to the search engines, and you're going to read all about that in the materials that I'm going to send you. One is a basic search engine optimization guide, and the other guide is understanding Google AdWords. So there's actually 2 bits of information you're going to read over the weekend, and there will be a quiz on Monday. So you're going to learn about link structure and why it's important. So what I may choose to do is take my H1 text and link it to my design page. Now, we've all heard the interweb, the web. And really, it's a good example of a spider web. And the spider web is an analogy for links. And what Google does is it has something called the Google bot that crawls search engines, and it looks at the link structure and it follows it. Think of it as like laying breadcrumbs, to find your navigation. Well, you could have a spider web of breadcrumbs, and that Google bot's just going to follow along with that link structure. So links are uber critical. In fact, it used to be a couple years ago, you'd have to submit your website to the search engines to be indexed. You'd actually have to tell them, hey, I exist, come look at my site. No longer is that necessary because the search Google bots are so sophisticated that they'll find your website as a result of finding links. Now, one thing that I'm going to encourage all of you to do is to get links to your website. And how the heck do you do that? Well, you become active on blogs, on forums, use any, positioned space like t-shirt forums. You could use the ryanetblog.com. You could use the InkSoft blog. But every time you put a comment on a blog, you also have the ability to put a URL to your website. So the more links to your website means that you're trusted, means that you're valuable. So here's a good example. Wikipedia has millions and millions and millions and millions of links going to it because it has, answers. And with all of those links, Google receives it as a well-trusted, source. It's really about reputation. So the more inbound links you have to your website, the better. Links are uber critical. So, there's dirty ways to do that. You could subscribe to link farms, and they will, you pay and they'll put you on, a bunch of forums. Don't do any of that stuff. If you cheat, you're not going to cheat Google. You'll get caught. So please don't attempt or be, tempted to pay for any link farming or link placements because you're just going to get in trouble. All right, so what I did is I went to this design template page, and I'm going to take this link here that displays in the browser bar. I'm going to copy that to my clipboard. What I'm going to do now is go back to my header 1 text. I'm going to highlight this text, and notice we have 2 options to apply a link or break a link. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on this link function, and if you hover your mouse over some of these tools, it will tell you what it is. Insert or edit a link. What I'm going to do is click on that function, and now I have the ability to paste in that URL that I copied. Now, target means, do you want to open that link in the same page or in a new window? Meaning, if somebody clicks on that link, do I want a brand new web browser window to open, or should it be in the same frame? So you can make your decision, what's ever important. Now we can actually describe this link. Very, very important. When you place a link, you want to give it a descriptor because Google has the intelligence to look at that. And usually I'll use these titles or descriptors that, and use long tail key phrases when I describe links. So I may do something like online, t-shirt design software. And this would be, of course, from the InkSoft perspective. You may choose to do design your own t-shirt online, Arizona's best screen printer. So whatever it may be, dial in your phrase here. And once I do that, I will go ahead and insert that link. So this link is now going to be active in this header 1 text. So as we turn here, now this is actually linked text. Now I'm going to put some extra content in here. And again, this is when you're going to want to use search engine friendly, relevant content. So you may want to match this to other parts of your website as well. So if you have a contact page, make your contact page kind of reflect some of this similar content. So you're going to kind of choose a theme, stick into a theme, make it niche because you're not going to compete with the Zazzle and Custom Ink with online t-shirt design. But we're going to choose our niche, Arizona's best screen printer. And then, of course, design your own custom t-shirt online. So put relevant content, and then we can go ahead and submit or save these changes. So that's the process for creating a banner. It's typically recommended that you have at least 150 characters in these HTML areas. That's really, you want a lot of content, so carefully think about it and script your content. And now we have an active advertisement, HTML banner advertisement, and that displays here. So let's go back to our home page and check that out. So let's go and filter. So here's our banner, and you can see online t-shirt design software. That's H1 text, and that's a link. So if I click on that, notice it's going to take us right to the design catalog where we told it to take us. So you can do things like format images into this particular area, but definitely leverage this in terms of content. I know it may not seem attractive to people visiting your site, but it's certainly attractive to the search engines, and that's really important. So that's one of the first techniques I wanted to share with you. So as a quick recap, we're going to set up all of our SEO for pages using well-constructed page titles. You do not want to copy and paste these. They need to have variation from page to page, relevant variation. So your home page is going to be different than your products page. Your products page should be different than your clip art page. So build in some variants here. Same with description. What you're doing for Google in the title is you're giving us a summary or a snapshot of your website. In the description, you're going on to give a more broad description of your website. And think of it this way. One more example with the Google search tool. So let's do custom t-shirts, Phoenix, Arizona. And you'll see now, notice this. Here's the returned results. And notice the bold in these page titles and page descriptions. Also in the link itself. So you can see Reckless T-shirts, screen printing in Phoenix, Arizona. Look what's bold, T-shirts, Phoenix, Arizona. What's in my search? T-shirts, Phoenix, Arizona. So again, a really great way to start thinking about SEO. Here we have, who's actually one of our clients, Explosion Sportswear. Greek T-shirts, sorority T-shirts, fraternity T-shirts. Look in the page description. Look how many times we see custom. Custom is 2 times. How many times do we see t-shirts? We see it 2 times. So there's no sort of one right way to do this, but you'll definitely learn how to become a copywriter for the search engines. But don't make this exclusively about search engines, meaning I see a lot of people that try to take keywords and just do keywords for the description. Google knows better and they'll penalize you. So you also have to author this so it's attractive to your end users. How are you going to drive action to your website? What's going to excite people? The most affordable, our prices won't be beat, free shipping. Those are some pretty important things in these descriptions before people go on to click to your website. So I won't talk any more about this. You're going to learn more by these 2 guides that we're going to send you. I'm just trying to give you a general orientation to the most critical thing, which is setting up your meta tags. You can almost disregard or ignore keywords. It doesn't even matter. I'm telling you, the search engines are so sophisticated, they overlook keywords in almost every single circumstance. And you're more likely to get yourself in trouble if you're too broad with your keywords. Google's going to say, what the heck is this page about? Is it about t-shirts or is it about, embroidery? We can't tell. So make sure to, at minimum, put in page title and description. You're also, as homework assignment number 1, you're going to create an HTML banner with H1 text that is a dialed-in, well-optimized search phrase for your locality. Online t-shirt designs, Arizona's best screen printer. And then go on to reflect that in some of the copy. You should have at least 150 characters or words for the copy that follows your header 1 text. And I would definitely assign links throughout this. So you may assign a link to design your own t-shirt online now. You may assign a link right to the design studio and let Google crawl all of the link structure on your page. And this is a great way to do it. Now, some other HTML areas that you can take advantage of. Let's navigate over to stores. Actually, that's the wrong one. Designs. In the design section, notice this, all design template categories. Do you see this? There's text here that says, you can enter your own custom text here, great for SEO. Create hyperlinks here too. So you can see that this is actually linked. So this, if I click me, it's actually linked right to a product. So you can use, on pages, you can use custom HTML to, again, reflect your valuable search phrases that are dialed in for your locality, and that will display here. So it would be ideal to have 150 characters here. It would be ideal to have header 1 text here as well. Now you'll notice here on the left-hand side we have another HTML area, and you may choose to do things like embed a YouTube video. You may choose to put in text and extra content. You might choose to put in bulleted text with links to other parts of your website. Click here to request quote. Click here to check out our blog. Link structure, again, is very, very valuable. So here on one page, we have 2 unique areas where we can put in custom HTML, and that should be text. Heavy, heavy text is really the key here. Now, if we click on clip art, we'll have much the same. At the very top, we can also set up our content here at the top. You see it says test, but of course you can fill in custom content here. The same is true of products. Now, where the heck do you find this? Where can you establish your custom text for these areas? You can navigate to config. You'll navigate to the store that you happen to be working in. And what we want to do is we want to go to the General tab, and then here we have Policies and Custom Content. Now, we just released a new feature earlier in the week. Hopefully you all saw this on the blog. But you now have the ability to create custom pages. And this is really going to help your organic SEO position, is by creating custom pages and putting content in those pages. So creating a blog, for example, and putting in blog content, maybe a gallery, maybe just a page that says, about our services and describe, we're Arizona's premier and most affordable screen printer. We offer, customer stores to help you raise funds for your school. Again, valuable content. So look at these tabs here. For the About Us page, I can put in content, SEO content here. And I can do the same. I can put in H1 text. I can put in links. I can even color the text. I can put in images. So you have the ability to insert an image in this particular area as well. So we can put in tables. You have all sorts of stuff you can do. You can also copy. We can paste in content. So a lot of different function in this particular field as well. So make sure to take advantage of this area, 150 characters or 150 words, H1 text, and links. And go ahead and save those particular changes. So in our About Us page in the main navigation, we'll now have rich SEO-friendly content. So just like you're going to set up SEO for all your pages, you need to go through all of these custom content areas, and you need to populate this with content. Do not copy and paste. Please create variation and make it relevant to your website and your offering. So we're going to work left to right, About Us. We can enter in policy content. We can also do terms of use. We can do designs. This, again, is going to go on the sidebar. So here's the category menu on the left-hand side. I put in a YouTube video. Now notice this. There's a little HTML tab. Do you see where my mouse is hovering? It should be blinking. This is where you're going to paste in things like YouTube video content. So if I click on that, here's the YouTube video content that I pasted from the YouTube embed. So if you want to design something or upload something to YouTube, copy the embed code. The size that I use to perfectly match that little sidebar is 217 by 147 pixels, and that's the perfect size to match your sidebar area. So again, copy and paste HTML or video embed content, and that's now going to be active on my gallery menu. What I can also do is put some content above that. So I might choose to go back into this HTML editor, and I'm going to go and put in some content above that. SEO content here, and I'll go back, update that, and that's going to now reflect in the WYSIWYG editor. So I have the ability to then go put H1 text into this content, so you can see how it formatted content here. I can go to header 1. I could assign a link to this. I could put design your own custom t-shirt now, and have a link right to the design studio. So again, assign a link to that. So make certain to go through all of these fields, populate content. You can color your links to make it stand out. So really, really important to do through all of these pages. So we're going to work through this. I want to share with you the new function, which is creating custom pages. And let's go to the bottom of this website now, which is our fake, or sort of our demo site. You'll notice now in site, home, gift certificates, contact us. Well, notice this: InkSoft blog, portfolio, list. You could create custom pages, and these custom pages will display custom content. What do you think we're going to do with this custom content? We are going to embed links and content. So in fact, I'm going to go back on this page because this is our quick start setup checklist. I'm going to actually put YouTube videos in this page. So definitely take advantage of these custom pages to do things like blogs, gallery, samples of our work, putting heavy content with phrases, and that's going to help populate your website. So definitely a tremendous investment, and that's going to help you certainly establish your position on the search engines. Now, when you set up a new page, so here's pages I have: blog, I have list, and then I have gallery. What you can do, go to the bottom and create a new custom page. So you can name it, you can give a link in the header or just in the footer, which is in the example I gave. I just put those links in the footer or the bottom of the page rather than the topmost navigation. And here's where I'd put the custom content, or I would embed some of the HTML source by using these functions now. And let me do this. We're going to transition now that we've talked about some of the critical things in InkSoft. This is the basics. We're going to have an advanced SEO and search engine marketing to talk about some more function that's available in InkSoft to establish your SEO. But for now, we're going to leave it at that. I want to move on to talking about setting up an advertising campaign in Google AdWords and Facebook advertising. Now, I can't stress how important this is. Something terrible happens when you don't promote, and that's nothing. That's a P.T. Barnum quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. So now that you got InkSoft, now that you've set up your SEO, now what? Do you wait months until Google gives you good position? Well, absolutely not. You have to market. And what's a great way to market? Well, it's to connect the dot between people searching for your products and services and content and your website. So Google, of course, has natural listings or organic listings. So organically, Reckless t-shirts, they appear first. That's an organic position. But a paid position is this: custom t-shirts. Let's see who's paying for the top position. Well, look who it is: Custom Ink. So here we have advertisements in this particular region here at the very top, and then on the right-hand side. So you can see now in terms of the auction, Custom Ink is paying the most to have this topmost position. Spread a Shirt is second. Now we can see on the right-hand side, the third position is Uber Prints, and then we have customizedgirl.com, which is a new one. I haven't seen that. Custom made t-shirts. So this is just an auction, so people are bidding to have this placement in this position. And this is what Google is going to allow you to do. You're going to be able to enter this landscape here. And again, if you have a well dialed in niche search phrase and keywords, your auction is going to be much less. Now, another way to get a good value on your Google paid per click advertising is to make sure that it's relevant and that your website is relevant. Google actually rewards, lowers your cost, and gives you better Google AdWords position. They actually rank ads. And so if I have an ad that's well constructed, it's relevant to my website, it's going to cost me less and it's going to get a better position than, say, a bigger, badder website that's willing to pay more that hasn't thoroughly constructed their advertisements. So again, being a copywriter for search engine optimization is crucial. So once you create a Google AdWords account, it's free. And I'll try to find you some links. Oftentimes you can get a free $100 credit, and you'd be crazy not to take advantage of a $100 credit, right? So here, if I click on home, this is my home page for our Google paid account, and this is a erroneous one. So you can see here, you can pause programs, you can see what's active, you can see the impressions that are being made. So pretty straightforward process in here. I know that the dashboard looks a little cumbersome and complicated, but after you read the guide I'm going to do and watch some of the video overviews, it'll become pretty straightforward. So effectively, what you'll do is you'll create a campaign. And what I can do is create a new campaign, and this is one that we already have going here. So I'm going to create a new campaign. I'll kind of walk you through this process. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a new campaign. This will have a separate budget. It will have separate ad groups. So I can create one campaign, and that's kind of like a general, my campaign is top quality screen printer, Arizona. And then I can set up variations of my campaign called ad groups. So I might do an ad group that says Arizona's best screen printing. I might have another variation that says Arizona's, cheap t-shirts, Arizona. I might have another variation. So you can create all these variations of your ad to see what is most effective. And of course, you're going to see the metrics. You're going to see how many people are clicking, how many impressions are delivered. And you might think that you have a well-crafted ad, and suddenly it's not getting any response. Whereas, an ad that you didn't expect to perform well is kicking butt. So again, I'm going to name my campaign. I'm going to name this Arizona t-shirt. And I'll go ahead and go through these processes here. I can target, so I can do the entire United States and Canada, or I can do a specific area. I'm going to do the state of Arizona. And I should probably spell Arizona properly in our campaign name. So I'm going to target the state of Arizona. So you're not wasting money selling to people that aren't in your locality, because again, you're trying to create relevancy and you're trying to leverage your locality. Now, networks. What I can do now is I can target specific related websites. So Google has a tremendous network of folks that display advertisements. So the t-shirt forums is a network that displays advertisements. So you could display ads in all available sites. You can target specific sites. So it's really a matter of your preference. I would probably recommend to get started, keeping it all available sites, but later you'll find that your budget goes a little bit further if you really target specific sites. So it's a little more challenging in your locality, like what sites would be relevant to place your ads in, whereas if it's a national thing, Google does a good job of connecting the dots of your keywords and your campaign to give you good placement. Now we can set up a budget, and once your budget is tapped, then you can turn off the program. So I would definitely recommend everybody put together a daily budget for marketing. It could be $5. Start there. So you can establish your daily budget. And again, we can put in ad extensions. We could do things like, show my phone number, things of that nature, not super critical. I want to go ahead and save and continue with this particular project. So ad group number 1, this is my first advertisement for this campaign. So we're going to put in cheap screen printing. And this is just for your edification so you can manage your ads properly. Now you can do a text ad, which you see on the right-hand side. You can do an image ad. You can do a display ad, which is basically like an animated ad. It has movement. And you can actually choose from some templates. You can just customize the content. Most commonly, a text ad is going to be what you'll choose and what you'll use first. So headline, you can see an example on the right-hand side. So if I put in Arizona, cheap screen printing Arizona, I don't even know that will fit. So you got to be kind of aware of the space you have to work in. So AZ cheap screen printing, it fits. And then I can go down and describe line 2. Now you also want to put in keywords in this, and you also want to make it attractive to your potential prospects. So it's kind of a challenge to appease both Google and shoppers. So we might want to put in cheap t-shirts, no minimum. If we can squeeze that in, we'll just put no min. And then of course I can put in here free shipping, whatever search phrases would be important. Small quantities, design online. So I'll go and finish this. We're just going to go through this quick. You can put in a display URL, so I could have this pointed to any specific website. Typically, it's going to be your home page, so I can point this to my home page. Or the display URL rather, differs from the destination. So I could display one thing and have a link to another. So I could put in, inksoft.com, for example. So let's go back here and put in the display URL, what should showcase. So again, it could be one display URL, but it could point to an entirely different link. Now for keywords, we want to put in keywords for this particular site. So what I could do now is I can select keywords, and this is going to help you pull up the Google keyword tool. So let's go back here, I'm sorry. And where is the keyword function? Let's go here. Help me choose effective keywords. That's going to load the keyword tool from Google, and then we can go ahead and place those particular keywords in this site. Otherwise, we can just start typing in our keywords. So I can put in Arizona screen printing, and I can estimate the search traffic to kind of get a sense of how many people a day are looking for that, what the cost per day may be, and I can go ahead and place keywords. Typically, you want at least 5 keywords or more, but make them in the same family. So you don't want to do Arizona screen printing and then do Arizona embroidery. Keep it relevant, and this is one ad group. Now, once I save this ad group, I can create another. And where am I missing an error? Oh, default bid. So we'll put in a default bid here. So I'll put in $1. And we'll go ahead and save that group. I got to put in, I'm sorry, my malformed, didn't save my URL properly. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and save, and then I'm going to go on to create a new ad group. And you want to create at least 3 of these to kind of test, what people are responding to, what impressions are working properly, and that's going to really help you dial it in. Now let's jump to the Facebook ads. So reach over 500 million people where they connect and share. So if Facebook were a country, it would be the world's 3rd largest country. So the average Facebook user has 200 contacts. So I love the Facebook advertising because it's so highly targeted. And you're going to see, create an ad. And this interface to me is much more beautiful and elegant as compared to the Google AdWords program. But here we can put in, again, the destination URL. We can put in the title, online t-shirt design. They even have a suggested ad function. So if I put in my website here, let's put in inksoft.com. What Facebook will do is go and look at the content on our page and compare that using an algorithm to other folks or people that are searching for content. And here you can see what it's populated automatically. So it's already generated a title, the body copy for me, an image. You can click through. It went and sucked down a few different images from the website. So these are actually images from inksoft.com. I can go ahead and either upload my own or choose to use one of these images. Click continue. Here I can target. I'm going to target by state. I can enter in a state, Arizona. So we want to target the state of Arizona. Age group, so this is for demographic purposes. Are we targeting the younger demographic, 14-year-old on up? Are we targeting a specific, gender? So we can really dial in the preferences here. Interests, you can put in things like custom t-shirts. Maybe you're running a Christian, apparel store. Maybe you're going to put in Christianity, Christian, religion, youth ministry, whatever it may be. You can target by interest groups. So again, I can put in Christian, and you'll see here, things like, I'm proud to be a Christian, whatever it may be. I can go ahead and put in the appropriate likes and interests. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. Now look at the right-hand side, estimated reach. With this, age range, with this interest and likes, with the state, I can reach 44,000 people who live in Arizona, who are 14 years and older, and who like Christian or I am proud to be Christian. Pretty crazy, right? So I can go to advanced targeting, and you could do language. Maybe you're targeting the Hispanic community, whatever it may be. Education, maybe you're trying to setting up a store for Intel, and you know that there's 5,000 people on an Intel campus, and you want to target that specific workplace. You can do it. So of course, those are pretty nerdy, detailed controls. So we can set our time zone. We can set our campaign. We're going to name this, Design Studio. And we can go ahead and dial in all of our details in terms of a budget. So we're going to enter in our budget per day. We can also enter a lifetime budget. Maybe I'm going to do a one-time campaign. And when that campaign has reached my budget, it is over. Now, we have one client that actually did a pretty... I'd show it to you, but I'm afraid many of you would blush. But let's just say it had to relate to TSA and a pat down. So let you use your imagination. But there's a lot of people that have interest in that and think that stuff's funny. Well, they did a paid campaign and they reached over 10,000 people in a day were exposed to their advertisement for this particular design. So imagine driving people to your InkSoft powered website to buy a pre-decorated t-shirt and checking out immediately. So that would be your destination URL to maybe the product page or the product listing for that specific product. So minimal investment, 10,000 views. So you can see the power and advantage of that. Now here we can set the time we want to target this. Are we targeting this on a Monday? We want it to expire Friday. You can choose the date range and the schedule. Now, important to know, there's two types of methods, and this is the same with Google. You can pay based on impressions, total impressions, or cost per click. Now, research shows that cost per click is the most effective paid advertising. So you could do a cost per impression. So you might be willing to pay X amount for every 1,000 people that see your ad. So this is the way Google works as well. So how much are you willing to pay for 1,000 impressions? You know, what's your maximum bid? And here, you know, Facebook is going to give you a sense of, you know, a good bid range. So I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to pay 76 cents to reach 1,000 people. Pretty crazy, right? Or you can do a cost per click. A cost per click is going to be more valuable because somebody's actually reading your ad and they're clicking on it and they're going to your website. So you have to make the decision, do you want 1,000 people just looking at your ad? And you know, you could have a lot of people looking at an ad because Facebook is going to target it based on your selection. Or do you want to have unlimited people look at your ad and just be charged for the people that actually click to your website? So research again shows that the best return on investment is a paid per click. Suggested bid $1.71 to $3.23. So I might, you know, bid, you know, a penny above the suggested bid. So I'm going to go ahead and review my ad. And then the next step is, guess what? You got to pony up and you got to pay Facebook. So they don't do this for free. So I would definitely recommend setting up a Facebook paid advertising campaign. Target it, do it niche, dial it in. You know, look at niches like cheerleading, like Christianity, you know, these niches that, you know, are easy to target rather than broad. Custom t-shirts or funny t-shirts. That's a big, big space. The same is true of Facebook. Now, make sure to make this relevant and impart it on your website is another key function. In fact, if I'm going to do a very targeted promotion, maybe I'm going to sell a pre-decorated product, rhinestone t-shirts, rhinestone cheerleading t-shirts. Well, I'm going to go to my product page. I'm going to go to my actual rhinestone static t-shirt designs. And here I have a Maid of Honor rhinestone t-shirt. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do SEO for this page, Maid of Honor rhinestone t-shirt. Maid of Honor, you know, bridal party, whatever search terms would be relevant. So I'm going to do Maid of Honor rhinestone t-shirts. That's probably a good search phrase. Nobody better copy that. You know, cheap Maid of Honor t-shirts. And we could put in rhinestones. All right, cool. There's my SEO for this page. I'm going to take this product page link and use that to drive my niche-focused paid-per-click advertisements. Another thing you want to consider is the product details. We can customize product details. This is also text. So you might want to lead this with custom, you know, Maid of Honor rhinestone t-shirts. Great for Maid of Honor and bachelorette party events, etc. Alrighty, folks, I want to stop now before we get too uber cerebral. I know this is probably a lot to take in because this is new. Hopefully this has been beneficial. I'm going to post to the blog the two things I want you to download and read. One is this, growing your business with a Google AdWords account. This is awesome. It's super easy reading. Google even draws beautiful pictures. But again, this is going to, I think, really encourage you and show you the value of using pay-per-click advertisements. And I'll send you another one on Google's search engine optimization, for beginners guide. Those two together, you can read in an hour. It's going to provide a lot of value. And then it's taking action, actually doing this stuff in InkSoft. Alrighty, folks, my wife is going to kill me at 6 o'clock my time. I will take 3 questions, so let's make them good.